Good afternoon and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. Growing up as a child, there was a song I shouldn't have been singing. It goes like this: let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things, sex, baby. Let's talk about sex. I know I shouldn't have been singing that song, but let's face it, sex is everywhere. It's in our music, chop banana till you go yo. It's in our films, our music videos, on TV, it's in the magazines, it's in books, it's in novels that we read, Mills and Boone. But when it gets serious to talk about sex, reproductive health, to talk about making informed choices, we get very quiet. And this song, I'm sure I can't even sing it to my mom's hearing, even though I'm married with kids and she knows I have sex. That should just tell you that sex is still a taboo topic. But today on Rubbin Minds, we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to have that conversation and let people know that there are good things about sex and there are consequences. There's a balance to it. To join me for this conversation, I have with me Faustina Ekundare, nurse and clinical specialist at DKT Nigeria. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And we also have Precious Nwagbo, program manager at DKT Nigeria. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. I'm sure you were surprised with me singing that song, and I pray my mom doesn't watch this particular episode because that's not the kind of song you should sing as a child or even as an adult, because sex is still such a taboo. So I'll start with you, Faustina. Sex is everywhere, literally.
Yeah.
But why do you think it's still such a taboo topic?
You see, growing up, I think until at the university level, I was not able to speak about sex openly. I was still very afraid, due to the environment I was brought up with, until I got to nursing school. That was when I was able to still really be open to talk about sex, I think for me, it's the context on the environment and the culture that we are brought up in, as Nigerians, as Africans, we are so very ashamed to talk about sex. Even young people are still afraid to talk about sex. And that leads to many mistakes that people make because they will go out there that they're actually exposed to, internet, in the social medias and things that are happening about sexual content. And so they're exposed to it. But then as young people, as adults, I think we need to change the narrative in such a way that we begin to tailor our conversation such that we're able to just, move on to sex educations more to the young people, talk about your body, your reproduction, the consequences of unprotected sex. So I think for us now, we have to leave the shame part of it to begin to do more of health education to young people, and let them understand their bodies, how their body works, and the consequences of unprotected sex that can lead to stuff like STIs, pregnancies that you do not want at that time. So for us as young people growing up, I think for me to, like my colleague Wale also talk about is for us to begin to say that it's enough of the taboo. Let us leave the taboo behind and fully face the main thing, which is talking about the consequences of unprotected sex.
Thank you for that, Faustina, because as I was listening, I started to think about what sex education meant to me as a child. And a lot of times it's abstinence, it's about how you get pregnant, it's about STI. So my question to you, Precious, is that how come that conversation is not balanced about really understanding your reproductive system, about making informed choices, about knowing the good aspects about sex? I mean, we have children, so you can't have children without sex. So
of course.
How come we don't have that balance in conversation?
Well, I think, again, like Faustina said, it has to do a lot with the environment. And while I think that it is good to talk about the consequences, because really people need to know the consequences of certain behaviors, I believe that you cannot have comprehensive sexual health education without talking about informed choice. And what is really informed choice is giving people the information that they need to decide what is good and what is bad in several contexts. So for us in Nigeria and in this environment that we're in, I think we should start shifting from, like she said, consequences and taboo to making people understand that you can access information that would make you be more aware of your body, more aware of the things that you need to take into consideration before making certain choices, which is one of the reasons why we created Honey and Banana, really. It's an all-inclusive platform where you can get information.
We'll come to that.
Yeah.
When we look at sexual health education, now let me look at an adult. You want to have children. They start telling you about family planning. And it's usually the married women that get all the choices. You can use the copper, you can use the injectables, IUD.
Exactly.
Yes. But it's almost like that's a married woman problem, and you go sort it out, as opposed to a very holistic approach.
Exactly.
So I would like you to comment on that, because if young people don't have access to that information,
yes, they can't make the choice.
Yes, and we've seen instances where people lose their lives because of lack of knowledge.
True, very true, very true. I think that, like we always say, that we need to understand that family planning is reproductive rights, meaning that everybody, both young and old, in the reproductive age grade, supposed to have access to contraception. So we talk about this in our in our platforms, doing outreaches to talk to clients, young people. They need the information. Out there on social media, you see a lot of exposure to sex. People are showing sexual content online, but there's no proper information about what you should do to avoid unwanted pregnancies. And then our parents back there, when we are growing up, they'll tell you if a man touch you, you get pregnant. That's just like what they'll tell you, and that's how you know about it. But we need to move past that one, like I said earlier, young people need to have access to the right information to understand that there are different options available for contraceptions. We have IUDs that can be used. We have implants that can be used for young people. There are condoms that can be used. I would advise young people, if you are sexually active, please use a condom, because it's dual purpose. It prevents from pregnancy and also prevents from STIs as well too. So these are the things that we push out there in our platforms, doing outreaches and programs that we do on a regular basis to young people, even to the male as well too, because male has to be informed, aware about what is going on as well too, because it takes two to get pregnant, not just one person alone. So the men has to be involved and support their partners as well in ensuring that they have the right information and make the right decision regarding reproductive health and family planning.
Now, earlier on, Precious, you spoke about honey and banana, and I was just trying to think, what could that be? Because, in my intro, I was like, take banana to go, chop banana to go. What is honey and banana, please? Just explain to us.
Okay, so Honey and Banana is a youth-friendly platform. It's an initiative of DKT Nigeria. And what we do, we've created an ecosystem where we are giving people access to family planning information, child spacing, pregnancy prevention. So at whatever stage in life, but I said youth-friendly, right? Because we want to accommodate people who are within reproductive age to call in and ask pertinent questions. We know that, like you mentioned earlier, informed choice is necessary. Sure. So we are giving these people information that they need to make informed choices. And the ecosystem is such a robust one. We have 5 components to the entire Honey and Banana ecosystem. We have the call center. It's toll-free. You can dial 7790 for free, and you can access information either from an agent or a nurse, qualified people available to serve you. We've gone beyond that to even make this information available to people in different languages: English, Yoruba, Hausa, even Pidgin. And this platform has taken into consideration all the things that young people would, and even married people would take into consideration when they want to call and find out for information. It's private, it's non-judgmental, no one is going to give your information out anywhere. We also have social media platforms where we give information as well about family planning, myths, misconceptions, because there are a lot. And then there's the partner clinic networks. We've developed an AI-enabled chatbot, and then we have the website. So it's a really holistic platform. When people call in and get information, we refer them to clinics that we work with, where we are assured that they will get quality services. And after they've gone there and decided to take up these methods, we don't just leave them hanging. We follow them up. We know that new contraceptive adopters, sometimes they have some concerns. People will hear, oh, I took this, it made me fat. We follow them up to ensure that they understand their body throughout the initial period of method uptake. So our nurses, we call you, we ask you how are you doing on the method for a period of 1 year. So we start with you, we refer you, and we end with supporting you. So it's such a holistic platform that we have. Yeah, like a hand-holding session.
Can you just mention the handles again and the number before I move to you, Faustina?
Okay, so the number for the call center is 7790. It's toll-free. No charges at all, no hidden charges, because I know when you say toll free, some people will be like, but are there hidden charges? There are no hidden charges at all. And then the handles are at Honey and Banana across all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, X, even TikTok now, because we want to, again, reach all the demography within the reproductive ages. So, yeah.
I would like to build on what you said, reaching the entire demographic that have reproductive health, needs, right, and needs. How do we get that conversation to be appealing to men, to be appealing to grandmothers and great-grandmothers, to appeal to young mothers, young fathers, so even in the way they teach their children, even schools?
So that's a very interesting question, because we've had issues where mothers come to the clinic and say they can't take family planning because their husband is saying they cannot take it. Wow. You understand? And I've had another issue, another experience where a woman comes to the clinic and says she cannot have family planning because her mother is saying that in their family, if they have family planning, the family, someone will have to die. You understand? So there are cultural things surrounding family planning, and these things are not true. There are misconceptions about returning to fertility. People will tell you that if I have family planning, can I still conceive again? Those are lies. You can conceive after removing a contraceptive method, you know. There are other cultural issues that some people tell you that if I have family planning, maybe I'll come down with malaria afterwards. Wow. I'm asking questions like, what is the relationship between that, you know, and malaria and family planning? Is not true. So these cultural things exist. You know, main issues also exist as well too. And we do a lot of outreaches, you know, create awareness in the community, you know, in health centers, in hard-to-reach environments, to trying to encourage women, encourage men to understand the benefit of family planning. That first of all, it's about your health. It's not even about preventing pregnancy in the first instance. It's about your overall health. Because you're looking at the complication of pregnancies. I have women that had eclampsia in pregnancy, there are people that are coming down with hypertension in pregnancies. Recently, had someone that called in with an hypertension of about 210/120 with pregnancy. You know, so many things are occurring. And I think there's something that was very popular over, I think, last 2 months, where a man was online saying the woman died while was rushing the woman to the hospital, you know. So these things are happening, you know, and we need our men to understand that. Please, for the sake of the life of the woman that you have, let her take up a method. So we are creating awareness, social media platforms, like she had mentioned earlier over the time, our clinics, outreaches, and programs to ensure that people understand that, first and foremost, please, it's about your life. Whatever you're experiencing, you could have side effects, like she had mentioned. Of course, it will come in with every other drugs, like you have hypertensive drugs, people take them, and you experience a lot of side effects too as well. Even malaria, so when you're taking malaria medication, you feel like, you want to die, you understand, but you still take it because you want to live. So why are you afraid to take a contraception that is helping you to prevent you undergoing some of the complication of pregnancy? So we're telling the men. Yes.
What about the men? Do you also encourage them to do vasectomy?
We do. We encourage men, a lot of men. There are condoms available in different varieties for the men to use. And then vasectomy is also an option for some men. Once you've completed the number of children that you want for your family, you can go for vasectomy, and very easy procedures. Or you use a condom, or please support your partner. Support your wife. Let her go to a clinic. You know, a woman will call you with 3 cesarean section. You know, she had 3 cesarean section, and she's calling to say, my husband is saying that I cannot do family planning. Wow. And we are worried about such situations because we need to understand that, firstly, it's a reproductive right. It is your right as a woman as much as it's my right as a man, if I was a man, you know. So please, men, women, grandmothers, let's encourage our women out there to go out to take up a contraception option that's available for them. Thank you.
All right. We're out of time, but I would like you, Precious, to mention the toll-free number again, the social media handle, so people can find out about this initiative.
Okay, so the toll-free number is 7790. It's free across all networks and the social media platforms at Honey and Banana. At Honey and Banana.
Wow.
And
Thank you so much. That went so fast.
you. Yeah, that was so
Precious
fast.
Uwalgo and
Yeah.
Faustina Ikundari. And I
Thank
wish you
you.
all the best.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much.
It was a lovely
Thank you.
time.
You're
with you.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll now go on a quick break on Rubbin Minds. Come back to Rubbin Minds now, from the insurgency in the north to the farmer headsman clashes that we continue to see in the Middle Belt, to the kidnappings, the armed robberies in the south. Throughout Nigeria, insecurity has been on a rise, and Nigerians are asking, are we really safe? What is the government doing? And when do we feel safe enough to go about our businesses, to go about our lives, to go back home, to visit, to explore the country in its entirety? And we've seen what has been happening these past weeks. So the conversation today is looking at security, the security apparatus, the security infrastructure. Where do we go, Nigeria? To discuss this, I have with me a defense security expert, Dr. Nnamdi Chife. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. And joining us for this conversation is also a lawyer and human rights activist, Festus Ogun. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having me.
It's a hard conversation, but it's one that must be had. Security affects everyone and everything. In your honest assessment, and this question is to both of you, is Nigeria, what is happening? Is there a crisis? Is there a collapse? Or are we just adjusting to the chaos? Is the insecurity becoming a new normal for us?
Okay, so here's the thing. We have a structural problem with tackling insecurity in Nigeria. If you look at some of the statements coming from the Chief of Defense Staff, the Minister of Interior, both of them talked about the way our manner our border is porous, and talking about the collapse of security or governance in the Sahel. And we have ungoverned spaces. People move from the border, the northeast, and also the northwest with Nigeria. So if you look at it in a holistic term, we can't say, okay, it's limited to northwest, northeast. We have a border security crisis. And the invasion that happened in Benue, according to intelligence, according to the security chiefs, happened to be foreign invaders. But there are also other elements of communal crises that are associated with past killings in Benue. But this one, we need to identify it as foreign invasion. And how do you curb this problem? We need to start looking at how to, stop invasion from the outside of the country. Either you are talking about the southeast, you have the Ambazonia rebellion happening in southern Cameroon. The south is awash with all kinds of light weapons. They are using this to commit kidnapping for ransom and all kinds of terror in the southeast, south. If you come to the southwest, you have the semi-border, you have all kinds of in and out, illegal footpaths in those areas. Then you have the northwest, northeast, north central. So the 4,000 kilometers that our Minister of Interior talked about, I think the president has to declare sort of a state of emergency on trying to prevent influx of people into our border. Then we can tackle the issue of ungoverned spaces.
Festus, how would you rate the security infrastructure currently on ground in Nigeria?
I would say that the security infrastructure has completely broken down. And I say this because I know as a fact that the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. And what we've seen in the past years is that the Nigerian authorities has failed quite woefully in protecting our countrymen. We saw just a few days ago, I would say, over 200 persons were mindlessly murdered in Benue State. Not just that, I read in the news while coming here that about 30 persons were killed in Kebbi by supposed terrorists. Now, when we, on a daily basis, read this news, they are becoming a normal occurrence almost on a daily basis. That points directly to the fact that the security architecture is not only weak, it has completely broken. And that is why, for all of the, issues, security issues that doctor has, rightfully identified, from our porous border, from the, commitment of the leadership to put an end to all of this, it still boils down to leadership. The porous border can be tackled, the issues surrounding the porous border can be tackled by our leadership. We are talking about communal crisis. I do not see, for me, as far as I'm concerned, as also rightly identified by the Tortiv, the issue that happened in Benue appeared to me to be beyond a matter of communal crisis. It is a case of full-blown terrorism. And after the incident occurred, the president was even asking, when he went to visit Benue, he was asking the IGP, why has there not been any arrest made so far? That demonstrates that because these criminals will commit this crime and at the same time get away with it, and there won't be consequences at the end of the day, they have that courage, and they are pushed to even do the worst because they know that they are going to get away with their crime. So tall and short of the point I labor to make is that the security has broken down. We all of us, including those of us speaking here and everyone watching us, we are potential victims. That the country remains a risk unless and until the leadership of our country finds the courage to tackle insecurity heads on.
Dr. Namdi, I want to pick up on what you said about the leadership, and I want you to assess the response of this government, because it seems like it's a statement that comes out, the visit happens, everybody talks, and then it becomes business as usual. Like you said, no arrests have been made. So is that sending a stronger signal to the perpetrators of these violent crimes that you can get away with it, literally?
So for us to tackle this problem, we have to go back to the Constitution. The governors are saying that they do not have, because if you look at this, these things are happening within the states. And the governors are chief security officers. Many of them are calling for state security. And recently I saw the National Assembly has State Police Act on some of the amendments in the Constitution. And the governor of Zamfara recently said he needs a state to be, to have a state police. The governor of Benue. In fact, the last 2 months National Executive Council meeting, they proposed that out of maybe 35 states have signed on to state policing. Because you don't need to have the military coming in to fill the gap for what they are not trained to do. By Constitution, the military is supposed to come in to assist the civil authority. But where the police as an institution has not been properly equipped or funded or trained to tackle these problems, the military are not coming in with their capabilities. So I believe that it's not like states are not, authorities are not giving their best, but they are asking for a structure, a new ways to tackle this problem. If Benue has state police and also a governance structure in some of these places that are not governed, some of these places don't have government in place, and they are collecting federal allocation. So the idea that governors do not have security to deploy to tackle security threats in their state is also a problem. The military cannot police the entire state. The primary institution that ought to be tackling this problem is the Nigerian police force. But they are not trained with the way they are not properly funded with the way. So it has to do with a whole lot of issues that has to be starting from reforms. And without tinkering with the Constitution, having the state to deploy capability as a state, in a state force to tackle these problems, and deploying governance structures across these ungoverned spaces, will continue to have the problem.
First of all, Nigerians are looking for answers and looking for solutions. And like you said, the mandate of government is to protect the lives and the property of the people. So absolutely, what should Nigerians be asking of their presidents, of their governors, of their local government chairmen? Because we need answers. This cannot continue. Or like you said, all of us here are not safe.
Well, I will just continue from where Doctor stopped. And I will go a bit elaborate on this. We need a state policing system. Nigeria is a federalism, no doubt. But you see that we currently operate a system that is unitary in nature, especially as it comes to our security architecture. By dint of the Constitution and, in fact, the Police Act, it is right there that the head and the operational head of the Nigeria Police Force is the Inspector General of Police. Now, if this Inspector General of Police controls all the policemen in the country, including in our villages, this same Inspector General of Police is answerable to the President. So, even when we call the governor of a state the chief law officer of that state, we must ask ourselves the question, are we joking? Because the security architecture of that country doesn't lie in the hand of that governor. Have we not seen situations where we have a state governor who is having issues or belongs to a political party different from the political party heading the federal government of Nigeria? And you will see that, yes, he's the governor, but there are issues in the state and he can't really make directives. Look at the crisis going on in Osun State, for example. The local governments in Osun State are locked by the Nigerian police, headed by the Nigerian police force. So you see that the governors are not chief security officer of the state because the power of policing do not reside in them. And issues of security, these are a security expert. I'm a lawyer. It is the security, it's local. And that was when we even wanted to commence Amotekun some years back. There were protests, even from the federal government. And we had to tell them that, look, the framework of Amotekun, the legal framework surrounding Amotekun is, quite different. But is it sustainable for every state to start creating their Amotekuns? I do not think so. All we need is to put all hands on deck to ensure that the National Assembly amends the Constitution to ensure that we have state police. In fact, even if we are not giving all the powers to the state policing system, maybe basic issues of maybe communal issues and all of that, let's leave that to this. Maybe we should even share some of these roles. So we say that, for this kind of crimes, let the state take care of it. For this, let the federal take care of it. Maybe we should start from there, because some are making the argument that the state governments are going to misuse this.
I think
but there is entirely no time that the issue of abuse will not arise, because power corrupts. Absolutely. But we also need a system that will tame the wings of the executive or whosoever intends to abuse the state policing. So we cannot say that because, we are afraid that the governors would abuse the state police, then we shouldn't have it. We should not have it. That cannot be a sound argument. My own position is that whether it will be subject to abuse is an argument on its own. But the necessity of having a state police cannot be negotiated. What we need is to also have a measure in place that would check the excesses of these persons that the executive who will be in charge of the implementation of the state police. That's the way I see it.
Checks and balances.
Absolutely.
Doctor, while this is going through the National Assembly and we're awaiting the constitutional review, what can the leadership be doing now in the short term to restore the confidence of Nigerians that they can go about their businesses in a safe manner? I mean, we've seen the president go visit Benue State. We saw children pulled out of schools to line the streets to sing the national anthem. There was whole pomp and pageantry, red carpet. It was almost like a banquet of sorts, and then a meeting, questions and answers. Could more have been done? Is that the most emotionally intelligent response to a crisis of that magnitude? And still we've seen no arrests.
Okay, so here's the way I see it is the governors are not powerless to an extent. The governors have security votes, and they cannot claim not to know what to do if your state is being overrun by criminals. Take example, for example, in Anambra State, for the past 2 years, the state has been infested with kidnappers, all kinds of terror happening across the communities. But this January, governor set out to pass, submitted a bill to the State Assembly, the Anambra State Internal Security Law, set up, traditional institutions, traditional rulers, vigilante services in every community. We have 326 wards, political wards in Anambra State. Each of these wards have vigilante, traditional ruler, and also a town union corps. So it has to be, you have to think outside of the box. Before the constitutional amendment is done, the state has to organize themselves in a way that you try to take over these ungoverned spaces. Do not leave. It goes to some of these states, there's no presence of government. So what you need to do, you need to take over these ungoverned spaces and bring in a government institution with the traditional, if you talk to some leaders in the north, they tell you that since the institution of district heads were decimated in some parts of north, that is when you see this, because when crime starts manifesting at the infants, you have district heads who try to prescribe solutions to the crime before it gets to maybe the emir or skyrockets to former governmental institutions. But a situation where the governor says, oh, I'm waiting for the federal government. You don't have to wait for the federal government. The Nigerian Governors Forum can even sit down with the IGP, talk about zonal operations intervention in a way that, because operations take time, you need to fund operation for like 12 months to be able to degrade the capacity of criminals, terrorists, and bandits, to deny them freedom of movement and action. So you have to sit down either as a collective, the Governors Forum, or as an individual. You can't say, Plateau governor cannot say, oh, you don't have a vigilante service or a security structure in a place whereby people were just murdered. If there were people you are suspecting them to be criminals, there should be an agency, either a vigilante or a government agency that they can hand people over to. So saying that, oh, you're waiting for federal government to pass bills or to come and intervene, no. They can use alternative solutions, alternative mechanisms to curtailing crime in their various states. And that's my position on it.
And what's your position, Festus, with the response in the immediate by this government?
Well, I will just take the case of Benue State as an example. For me, I strongly feel that the president, who is the commander-in-chief of armed forces, on who stabilizes the security reports of the country, is not empathetic enough in respect of security challenges that we experience on a daily basis. You see that when the massacre that happened in Benue State was all over the news, the Pope in Rome, Italy, condemned that sad occurrence. The president of Nigeria has not said anything. It took outcry by activists, by citizens in the media, before the president was compelled to release a statement at night. At the end of the day, the president regarded in a statement or regarded the mindless massacre of our countrymen to a case of communal crisis, urging the governor to see to the, when it was a clear case of terrorism. That is not all. On the following Monday, the president mentioned that he will look at his schedule or say things to the effect that he will check his schedule to see how he would make himself available on a Wednesday. Again, that demonstrates the fact that the president is really not concerned, because there is no schedule that is greater than the lives of 200 countrymen that were lost to these criminals. I've made the point clear that the lives of those persons that were lost, 200 human beings, the value of their lives is not less than that of the president. The way the president has blood in his veins is the same way those 200 persons that were killed. The same way he has organs is the same way. So there is no Nigerian that is greater than other Nigerians. So the president said he is going to clear his schedule before he visits the state. But that is not even all. The day he visited the state, we saw children in the rain singing national anthem, waiting for the president. I will not ascribe that to the president, but that is completely condemnable because it violates even the rights of these children. And what I saw was a banquet. I do not see, because in fact, it looked like a political gathering where, you know, the president was practically, you know,
we're out of
making
time.
manifestos.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you very much, Festus Ogo, and thank you very much, Dr. Nnamdi Chife, for being our guest here on Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
We'll go on a quick break on Rubbin Minds. Don't go anywhere. The show continues soon.
I don't like the way you're using me. I'm a very small girl.
So mo lè pè yín.
Yeah, you can beat me.
Ẹ ṣe ń gbé lára ní ibà.
Yes, I stay.
In case ẹ bá ní issue pẹ̀lú mọ́tò yín, ẹ pè mí.
Oh yeah, now no
Tó bá jẹ́
problem.
pé ìbàkulẹ̀ wà náà máa wá.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Aláàjì jà right.
Oh yeah, now. Okay, bye.
What you just watched is part of the content of our guest today. You know him for his comedy skits, you know him for his fashion forward content. He goes by the name Samuel Banks, or popularly called Arike Pre-Order. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
That's right.
So Arike Pre-Order, like that name, the persona, the signature moves, how did you come about it?
Actually, Arike Pre-Order is because before Arike Pre-Order there is Mama Dara, a character I play called Mama Dara. So Arike Pre-Order is just me mimicking, because where I grew up from, Abulegba, and Abulegba, like mixture of places. So that day I'm just trying to, like, you know, create something from, you know, reality, what happens, and I joined everything together, the Arike Pre-Order thing, because I actually have someone that does the pre-order business on my WhatsApp. So I just, you know, join everything together and I create content out of it. My first video on TikTok has, like, I think 1.5 million views, and from then I've been, you know, posting back to back.
So you draw inspiration from everyday living and your background growing up in Abulegba. Tell us more about your childhood. Growing up, I mean, was content creation a thing? Probably not. What were your dreams, your aspirations?
Okay. Growing up, I want to be a musician. Yeah, growing up, I have a couple of songs, you know, and you know, my mom and my sisters, because I was trained by a single mom, you know, they're one of my biggest supporters. They support me anything I do, you know. So at the time, I did my JAM, because I want to go to university. Like, I'm always particularly about university. So my JAM result was not able to make it to the uni. I have to, like, you know, rewrite, but it was nice to poly, but I want to go to uni. So I was home doing nothing, and that time it was coronavirus time. So my sister got me a phone. My sister just got me a new phone then, and I just start watching TikTok. Because on a normal day, that is how I do. I entertain my family, like my mom, my sister. Then next thing, she was like, Samuel, if you put this thing online, people really, really like it. So she got me a phone. I started TikTok. I started with TikTok, the mimicking sound, you know. I started with it and blew up. But from my background, my mom, my sister, and I have a younger brother also. So they're like,
well, so from being the family entertainer to being this social media content creator, influencer, and I mean, social media content influencing and marketing, it comes with a lot of money. So how have you adjusted to that new reality where you are now loaded, like you have fans, you have the fame, you have the money?
As for that, I'm going to say, I think it's going. I even think it's easy. You understand? And I think it's going to be easy, but I'm not going to lie. This is not, because every day people, from family, my family, like God. I would just say God bless me with the kind of family I come from, and my family actually, they are not the type that disturb me. But you see, my DMs is always full, and anytime I go out, this and that, it's just very, very overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. But God has been coming through. Anyways.
So now you've made a lot of money. Do you feel under pressure to cater to the family? You mentioned your childhood, like growing up in Abule Egba.
Yeah.
Some people might not know what
Yeah,
Abule Egba
I grew up in
life
Abule
is.
Egba. I grew up in Agege. So
And you said a single mom too.
yeah, single mom. My mom, I'm not even going to tell you my mom, because my mom and my sister play a very big role in my life. Toby Loba. So I'm not even going to lie. Growing up in Abule Egba and Agege is not easy at all. I see what is around me. I see a lot of things that can influence me to
Like
be.
what?
To be, like people doing games. It's very
Like the street life.
like the street life. Do you get? But my sister played a very, very, very big role, and the kind of people from my childhood, the kind of people I associate myself with, my sister, really changed my mindset. That, oh, Samuel, this thing you want to go for, you can really go for it. This thing you want to do, you can really do it. You just have to take consistency, hard work, and passion. Because a lot of people inspire me. People like Kiki, people like Brother Shaggy, people. So like these people also start from somewhere. And my sister will always sit me down, tell me, Samuel, there is nothing in this. This is the way,
So you got that encouragement.
Yeah.
And I mean, you take on roles, like Arika is a female role. And people would ask you like, oh, are you, is this your personality? Is this like, people question cross-dressers, for example, when you cross-dress in a skit. How have you been able to deal with those questions on?
From start, it was a little bit hard, seeing some comments, but the thing is that my friend also play a very, very, my friends, the kind of friends I keep, play a very, very big role with that, because they will always like tell me, Samuel, don't even think about, because things get to me, comments get to me,
Yeah, where people start to question you and
question
your
me
motives,
and my motives.
If that's your real character.
So I've been doing
your
this.
Sexuality.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years now, and there is one thing I'm I'm very, very proud of. There is my fans, I call them my family, we always say, no Samuel Bank slander, because they know, and I grew with it. Like what, I don't even think, if anybody come out and say, they are already there to like, I'm even going to say I have one of the, it's God, they are always there to defend me, and I've been doing it, and God have been, helping me. And doing this, I have to change my outfits, I have to dress like this to create content. It's not something that, it's just that I have to be in that character to portray the story, how it's done. You understand? So that's the only thing, and that is the reason why we have to just go extra miles to do those things.
So you don't let those comments get to you.
And now I think there is, I don't even see any comment like that anymore. Yeah.
So how much are you making? How do you charge? Because we hear that these content creators are cleaning out.
How do I charge? I don't. For that, my manager.
You can give us a range, like if what be your content now, is it?
I don't charge for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
but if a brand comes to meet you, like you have a range of how much you charge or how much you make, from these platforms.
For me, not for only the platform. I don't make money just for social media. So this is what I do. Being a social media content creator, you have to use your connection with a
But you're
brand.
making this money. Is it okay to call you a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, a billionaire?
It's okay, but not just from only content creating. I'm also into PR, because I PR for
So what's your worth? Sorry, what's your worth? Because you're just
my what?
Yes.
I don't think I would like
People
to
are
say.
watching it. You're inspiring people to go into content creation. They
My
want to
what?
know. Yes. What are you worth?
I don't think I would like to say that on
Just
TV.
give us a range now. You said you grew up in Agege, in Abule, but
So
now
you want me to say my word, and all my family members will start texting me.
We already know. You said you take care of your mom, your sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's
my
give us
sisters.
a range? You don't have to say the exact figure, but let's know what you've come from to where you are now.
Let's say just 200, 300.
Like, say it. I can't hear. What did you say?
200 to 300.
200 to 300 million naira.
200 to 300.
Wow. From content creation.
Not only for content creation.
So what has kept you going? Like in the times where you were down, you didn't get into university, or
I got into the university.
Yes. That time.
Yeah, I later get to university. So I went to Open University now.
Yeah.
So that's kept me going is I'm just only going to say one thing. My sister, that I don't, my sister and my mom, God just put them as like, no. So they're always encouraging me, supporting me with money, anything. I'm not even going to lie, I come from a very poor background, not very, very poor, but I've never lacked anything in my life. They are always supportive.
Very supportive family. You said apart from content creation, you do other things.
Yeah,
so
I do other things.
What are the other things you do?
I'm into PR. Yeah, I'm into PR, and I have my own business. I do, but I don't put it online. So PR. How will I explain? I'm into PR. I host parties.
So you hobnob with the big boys and big girls of society.
Yeah.
They're now your friends.
I host parties. Big part. I've done I think 3 big successful parties. I think one was sponsored by Patron Reposado, and I've done
and
good.
The kind of people that come for this party.
The kind of people that come for the party are the people that, I have the audience of the people that also work hard for their money to come, buy table, get drink, just for, not
Drop
just...
some names now. Who are the people coming for your party?
I have Egugun, I have King Pexi, I have Shaman, I have people, and I have good people that comes to my party and, do very well.
So, Sokwepo. You have to do a character for us now before you go.
Alpha, close up. Claire. Yes.
Is that all?
No, but there's one thing my people always say: Samuel Banks is different from Arike Prioda. So anytime I'm in this, it's about to get serious. But anytime I'm in my costume, we're working. So that's it.
So what do you want to say to others out there, content creators, your fans?
What I want to say for people that want to go into this work, and let me just start from people that want to go into content creating. Number 1, originality. Number 2, consistency. And number 3, when you're doing it, just have another means that, use your influence to build connection for yourself. Right.
Thank you so much, Samuel Banks. Arike Prioda.
And to my fans, I love you guys.
And that's where we close the show this afternoon on Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. Do enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Goodbye.